What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Victor, and on today's tutorial we are going to be taking a look on mixing. And today we are going to be mixing like Omale kind of vocals, and then we are going to be making it to stand out, and then we are going to be making it to be very cold on the vocals. That's what we are going to be mixing today. So I wanted us to take a look at the vocals that we have here, and then I'm going to be playing it. This is already mixed, and I'm going to be putting you guys through on the procedure and I take a mixing audio. So let's get it down.
Yes, God, baby, yeah. I gon' rock you till early, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till early, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. Come out to tap it, your body na fire. You waiting you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to jolly, go you give me candy. Oh, chukunu. Tell you when you rock but you go your body. Tell you if you make a man one colony. Tell you go make the guy one colony. Ewo. Oh, sukunu. Oh, sukunu. Oh, sukunu. My Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. And when you know that I shiver, now only you make me para. Oh, my Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. And when you know that I shiver, now only you make me para. Come out to tap it, your body na fire. You waiting you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to jolly, go you give me candy. Oh, chukunu. Tell you when you rock but you go your body. Tell you if you make a man one colony. Tell you go make the guy one colony. Ewo.
So alright, this is how the vocals sound, and what we are going to be doing next, I'm going to be putting you guys through on how you can achieve this kind of sound vocals and how you can mix something like this. So first things I have to do each time, so this vocal wasn't recorded on my studio, and I didn't record this with my microphone.
I gon' rock you till.
So when this vocal came, it came with a lot of background noise that I can't really do without. Like, I can't really do anything about it. So it was just a choice that I have to like work on taking out the heavy background noise. So when I call this background noise, I think this noise is a noise from the interface that was used to record the vocals, because I don't think that was a background noise. It was just a crack from the interface and some other stuff. So that was the reason why. So now what I did here was that I have to clear up the noise. So when you look at the vocals very well,
I gon' rock you till early, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till early, mama.
so when you listen to the vocals very well, you discover that there was a lot of background noise, but you can't really notice it because I have to take it off. So I have to take it off, and then I have to consolidate. I use a clarity. I use the clarity plugin from Wave. This is what sometimes I use. Where can I find it? Yeah, this is the clarity plugs I use to remove this. So sometimes I use this. It's loading. So sometimes I use this to remove some kind of background noise on my vocals that maybe when I use some other plugin and it's not working. I think this worked very perfect, and it does a perfect job, and I love to use it, but I don't mostly use it every time because it can also bring down the quality of your vocals. So I just add a little of it to it sometimes. So that was how I do it. So I did this and then I consolidate. That was the reason why you are not going to be finding it in my vocal box. you're not going to be finding it. So after that, I decided to use another plugins to remove the background noise from it. So first of all, I'm going to be muting every plugins I've used in this. So guys, pay attention to this very well, because you're going to learn a lot from what I'm going to be teaching today. You guys are going to be learning a lot from it. So let's get down. So right now, so I am going to be taking this off also. I'm taking everything off. So I want us to listen to the vocals without no auto tune, everything to be raw. Let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till.
So sorry, I still have my reverb and delay on it, so let me keep it up. Take it off, take it off, take it down.
I gon' rock you till early mama. Make you no go senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh.
So this is the way it sounds, very raw. And then what I'm going to be doing right now is that's how it was sent. I already removed the background noise. So the next thing I decided to add was uh, a fat filter Pro G. So what I did here was I'm still adding another denoiser to it to at least keep it in touch, because I have to use the clarity from wave, which I just display on the screen just now, and then I have to delete it because of my CPU, my system CPU. I don't want it to be too much high, because that clarity is very a heavy kind of plugin. So I have to like tune this to about -31. Sometimes I don't actually do this, but I discovered the noise at the background was much, so I have to do that.
I gon' rock you till early mama. Make you no go senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till.
Alright, so the next thing I decided to add immediately was to add my auto tune. So which auto tune is one of the basic key in music. When it comes to Afrobeat, we use auto-tune to like glue things together and put it in cues. So as you can see, I like to put my input type to low May. I like to use auto tenor sometimes, maybe on my ad libs or something. But I also like to, my key for this beat was G flat, I think. Yeah. So we have the scale, which is minor. Then I have to add my return speed. On this, I didn't use too much auto tune because I don't want too much auto tune on these vocals, because I feel the artist has the kind of vibes that I wanted, and I don't need to do too much on the auto tune. So I just added about 10% of auto tune to it, and then I tried to humanize it a little bit at 4%. That was just a little stuff I did. So after adding my auto tune to it, everything sounds this way.
I gon' rock you till early mama. Make you no go senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till.
So what I'm trying to achieve now, you can see that I'm trying to achieve a very calm vocals, and you can see that I gain stage my vocals before starting. I bring down the volume of my vocals to match up with the beat. While I play the beat, I listen to these two.
I gon' rock you till.
So let me turn up my instrumental, my beat.
I gon' rock you till early mama. Make you no senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till.
Alright, so I have to gain stage, because what I'm trying to achieve here is that I already know the pattern of this song, and I know the vocal have to be calm. So that's what I'm trying to go for, and that's why you can see that I have already do some kind of gain staging on my vocals. So make sure you do gain staging on your vocals. I know the kind of vocals you are mixing. If it's something that have to be very loud, yes, and if it's something that is that have to stay calm, you have to try as much as possible to make it calm.
I gon' rock you till early mama. Make you no go senkpe.
So the next plugin I'm going to be adding to this is my EQ, and then I did some little changes on my EQ, which I have to remove some kind of basic part of it, which sounds this way.
Mama.
And another one here, which I have to set to dynamic.
I gon' rock you till early mama.
So for those of you who don't know how to put your vocals on dynamic, you have to just select the aspect you wanted to dog down, and then just select and then right click, make dynamic. As you can see, then you can drag it to any way you want. Then it's going to work perfectly, just like the way you set it. So that's how to make it dynamic. So I decided to make this place dynamic to remove something like this. So it's not often it comes and goes, so that was what I'm trying to do. So once that you hear that sound, that bad sound, that frequency I'm trying to target is going to duck down and reduce the frequency of it. So I did that here, and I came to this place. I also make it dynamic and removes this. It was very high, so I have to tame down the volume of that harsh frequency a little bit out of it. So I came to this place, the same thing, that was all I did also. So I decided to remove that bad frequency out of it also because it's also causing some harm on the vocals. So that was what I did with my EQ, and it sounds this way. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe, make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you. So I wasn't doing too much, and I was just trying to tame the volume of those stuff little by little. So it's time for my compressor, and I decided to use the compressor from Wave, and I love to use this compressor very much. And sometimes I leave it at the default setting depending on the vocals I'm mixing, but for this one I have to set my peak reduction to about 52.92, and then my gain was about 40, which I leave it at default. So let's take a listen to how it sounds. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe. So if you are following me up, you discover that there are a lot of changes that happen here, and I'm going to leave that for you on your comment section for you to tell me what just happened here, because this brings some kind of transformation to it. I'm not going to be explaining it now, which I'm going to be leaving that for you to give an understanding about it. Now what I'm trying to say here is that this is a compressor that you can use on your vocals, and it works very fine on your vocals. So let's take a listen again and see. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe. So on this I'm not doing too much, and then let's turn it off and see the difference. I gon' rock you till early mama. So let me turn it on. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe. So if a producer and you know that there's some kind of difference that this compressor and this kind of vocal feelings is adding to it, and I really loved to use it. Now you can see my analog. I turn it off here. I didn't like to turn my analog on this process, so I have to turn it off. So that was all I did with the compressors, and everything sounds this way. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe, make you no go tire, oh. So the next thing I'm going to be adding is my virtual mix track, and this is from I think this is from Slate Digital. And what I have to do here is that the reason why I like to use virtual mix track, because there's a kind of analog feelings it add to it, the kind of vocal musical feelings it add to it. So I use this to brighten up my vocals and also emulate some kind of microphone I love to use. So if you have been following me up on my channel, you've discovered that I do a lot of this. So guys, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to like and drop your comment on the comment box, because I do a lot of amazing things. You can check out my videos and you're going to learn a lot of this from it. So if you wanted to learn personally, have a private class with me where you can learn and understand what I'm saying, and where I'm going to go deep into some stuff with you, you can message me on WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is going to be on the screen, or is going to be on the description box. So guys, don't forget to message me up. I'm always going to answer you. So let's see what I did here. It was that I'm going to be turning off everything I did here, and then we are going to be taking it one after the other. So first thing I have to use sometimes is air EQ. I love to use it because it brings out some kind of brightness and feelings to it, which sounds this way. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go senkpe. So without the air EQ, it sounds this way. I gon' rock you till. So with it, I gon' rock you till early mama, so make you no go senkpe. So supposing I wanted to add a lot of this to it and tune it all the way up, let's see what it sounds.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe.
So we are not trying to be mixing amateur vocal here. So we are trying to mix something regular and something can that the vocal is going to stand out. So we are going to do a little of it, add about 1.30% of this to it, about 1.30 dB to it, a little of it, and that is good. That's the only thing I like to do with this. So the next thing we are going to add is these classic tubes, and this is full of a lot of microphone that you can emulate and you can just go through it. I talked about this in my last some of my tutorial where I explain in details about this, so you can just go through and select the kind of microphone that you feel that suits for the kind of particular song that you are mixing. For this, I love to use this because it brings the kind of brightness and sharpness I want to do. So let's take a listen to it with it.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon'
So what if I'm turning it off, and let's take a listen to it.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama.
So let me turn it on.
Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh.
So when we talk about the intensity, I have to add a little bit of that, not too much. So the next thing we are going to be talking about here is our custom series left, and then I love to use this custom series to also add some kind of thickness and some kind of I don't know how to explain this, but that's what I feel about it. Just adding something little here, adding little here, not too much, about 4.6, and that was all I did there. So the next thing I have to add was using a reviver to add some kind of brightness to it also, and then I just turn it all the way around 12 here. So the thickness, I don't touch anything here, I just leave it here, and then this is how everything sounds together.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. Come out to tap it, your body na fire. You wetin you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to
Alright, so the next plugin I'm going to add is a Mani EQ from Waves, and I use this to boost and then cut some kind of frequency I don't really like also. So first thing I did here was to boost the high end of this, as you can see, about 1.5%, and then also at this range also I have to boost the mid range about 1.6 also, and then I like to also I didn't touch anything here, but sometimes I play along with this depending on the kind of vocals I wanted to mix him. So cut and boost, and that's all I use this Mani EQ for. So let's take a listen to how it sounds.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till.
So you can see that the Mani EQ brings some kind of little difference in it and bring out the volume of the vocals and boosted some kind of mid-range of the vocals. So that was all I did at that range. So let's take a look at the other thing I have to do was to add an EQ to it, and the reason why I'm adding this EQ to it is I wanted to boost the high end, like add some kind of presence to my vocals, because I discovered that my vocals is lacking presence. So I decided to add a little bit of presence to it at this range, and it sounds this way.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama.
So that was what I did with that EQ. So the next thing I decided to add was to de-ess my sound, because I discovered that there are some S's on my sound which I am not even doing too much when it comes to de-essing. I just did a little bit about minus 21.7. You can do more than that depending on your microphone and the artist's vocals. So don't just follow what the setting I did, you can just do more than that. So that is it. So let's see.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go senkpe, senkpe, senkpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till.
So the next thing I'm going to add is multi-band compressor. Multi-band, yeah, multi-band from Waves. sorry, this is some fat filter, sorry. And then what I like to use this for, I like to use it at the mid-range yet and reduce the band of my, like reduce some kind of frequency here. So I just, as you can see, my threshold was about minus 26 while my range was about minus 2 dB. So that's what I did here to remove some stuff. And also I did the same thing here also to remove some S's also to control some kind of hash frequency also. But I did something little here, so you can see the setting. The threshold was about minus 31.48, and while the range was about 0.58, was not even up to a dB. So that was all I did. I did all this unit listening to the music and try to control it, listening to it with my ears. So I don't just come copy setting and just paste. So try to do the same thing. So let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama.
Alright, so as you can see, I already run out about from my slot. As you can see, I don't have any other slot to add my vocals. This is what I love most about FL Studio, because I can now sidechain to other box and then do it. So I'm going to teach you guys how to do it, because sometimes we are not using some kind of expensive microphone. We needed to do some kind of add some other plugin, not adding too much of plugin, but add some other plugins to like give you the kind of vibes that we wanted to create. So that is what I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to be sidechaining my vocal to a place called lead vocals, which I titled here, and then I am going to be disconnecting my vocals from my mastering bus. As you can see, it's not connected, but when it comes to the lead vocal, this is the lead vocal that's sent to the master box. So as you can see, we are heading on to the master bus right now. So the first thing I decided to add here was a GW mix centrics. I love to use it, and I love to use this to add some kind of sweet vibes to it. So this is from Wave also. So let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama.
So without it,
I gon' rock you till early mama.
So with it,
I gon' rock you till early mama.
So I don't know if you notice the difference, and I don't know if you notice the switch sound that comes with it. It's a very great plugin. I would like you to have it and you try it on your vocals. It works. So let's see. What I did here was I'll just tune this about 7.3 dB. That was only what I added here. So that was the only thing I did with that plugin. So let's get down to another plugin. It's time for my saturation, and I like to use this root saturation from Waves, and then I like to set my gain to 35%, sometimes at 30, depending on the vocals I mix. Then set my blend, play with my blend, listen to my vocals, and blend it the way I want it to be. So let's see.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama.
So this saturation can be very, very sharp and clear, so you just have to do a little bit to add some clarity to your vocals, because what we are trying to target is adding clarity to our vocals and letting our listener, our consumers, to listen to the lyrics very, very clear and see and hear what we are saying in the vocals. So that is the target, and that is the work of you as a mixing engineer, and also making it to be very calm to the ear of the listener, because some people like to listen to their music on earpiece, on a headset, or a monitor speakers, so they can just feel it in their cars, feel it when they are traveling, and that is what I'm trying to achieve: a calm and a very good sound.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh, oh.
So that was all I just did with my saturation, and that is a little thing I just did. So the next thing I have to add was this is a classic GEQ, and it's a very, very nice EQ with multiple stuff here. So what I just did here was just to boost my mid-range a little bit, because I want my vocals to stand out on my beat. So I have to boost the mid-range about 1.3 dB at the range here. This is the only thing I did here. So let's take a listen to how it sounds.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh, oh.
So I don't know if you listen to the kind of vibes and sound that it brings to it. I don't know if you see that the vocals is not hiding under the beat anymore. It's trying to, you know, fight for its space and try to communicate with the vocals. And I love how it sounds, and I like it. So the next thing I'm going to be adding this time around is a vocal doubler. This is one of my biggest secrets. and I'm going to be bringing it to you guys. This vocal doubler, I think this is for an isotope, and then you can also download this for free. Also, it has the free version also. You can also download this. So what I like to use this for is, this is a very, very great secret I'm going to teach you now. What this plugin actually does for me, what I like to use it for, because once I use it, it gives me that kind of calmness, that kind of spread of sound, and I don't know how I'm going to explain it, but it's a very, very nice plugin. I am not promoting this, but this is a very nice stuff that you can use. As long as you can control it, it's fine. So sometimes I like to tune it a little bit. You can tune it here to see what suits your vocal. So first of all, before you do it, you can just raise the amount to 100% and then tune it to how it sound good. Then after that, you can just reduce the effect a little bit, so your percentage you wanted to add. So let's take a listen to it with it.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, sengpe, sengpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till.
So I don't know if you can feel the fullness of the vocals and the calmness of the vocals also. That is what I am trying to also achieve on this aspect also. So that is all about a vocal doubler. So the next thing I decided to add was a TG mastering stereo. I don't know why I use this, but I don't know why I use this. So I was just trying to play with something, then I got this, and then I decided to use it. I didn't actually touch anything here, but I just decided to touch it. I'm still trying to study this and see how it works, but it works very perfect on these vocals. Let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, sengpe, sengpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama.
So I'm still trying to study how this works, and I just try to give it a try on these vocals, and it worked perfectly well. I was trying to play around with this, but since I am not too familiar with it, I can't really play around with it. So maybe in our next tutorial, if at all I'm mixing a vocals that correspond with something like this, I'm trying to use this and then bring more information to you guys about this. So only what I just did here was to set it to stereo, and that's all I just did. I didn't touch any other thing from here. So the next thing I wanted to add was a explosive plugins, because I needed to add this as my first plugin, but I added this as the last plugin because when I was mixing, I discovered that there's some kind of plosive on the sound, so I decided to just add it. And what I mean by the plosives, for those of you who are just joining this channel, is just those sound that goes into the microphone when the artist is singing. So this calm it down, this reduce that plosive on it. So let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, sengpe, sengpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh.
Alright, so the next thing I wanted to add again was Valhalla Vintage Reverb. This is a sub reverb I'm going to add. This is not going to be my main reverb, it's just a sub reverb, which I have to set to smooth split. As you can see, I have to set this to smooth split, and then my pre-delay was about 20, then my mix was about 10. This is 10%, and then my decay was about 1.28. So this is just going to bring my pre reverb. So let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, sengpe, sengpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, mama, mama. Make you no go sengpe, sengpe, sengpe. Make you no go tire, oh, oh. Come out to tape, your body na fire. You waiting you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to jolly, go you give me candy. Oh, jingle, jingle.
Alright, so let's take a listen to our main reverb that we are going to use on this our delay. So I wanted to talk about, I like to add delay to my vocals before talking about my main reverb, because once I add the delay to my vocals, it gives me the control to control my delay before reverb comes in. So let's see the delay I use. This is a stock delay for FL Studio. I have to bring down my drives, and then my timing was about 4. Yes, a 4 step, and then that was the only thing I did. Just have my setting that way, and then reduce the volume of my delay a little bit here. I don't want the delay to be much, so something very little. So that was what I did there. So let's take a listen.
I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go say.
So sorry, I think I automated my delay. Yeah, I automated my delay, and this is my automation. For you to automate your delay, you have to come here and then right click here and then create an automation clip. Once you added create automation clip, it's going to bring you something like this, which you are going to edit. I have a video where I talk about delay, so you can go watch it, where I talk about automations and many other things. It's going to be help you a lot. So as you can see, my delay is going to go this way.
I gon' rock you till oh. I gon' rock ya oh. I gon' rock you, but make you no go tire oh. I gon' rock you.
So you can see what it's sounding like once the delay comes here, it goes up, because I just wanted my delay to be present in some kind of places, and places like this goes up very high. Some places comes down, and some places they will just go up. So I wanted to have a control over my delay. That was the reason why I decided to set my delay as automations on this.
I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire oh. I gon' rock you till I gon' rock you till early mama, mama.
So if you listen to it very well, once it comes to this place, the delay is going to go up and it's going to spray.
I gon' rock you till.
So I don't know if you get it. Let's see again.
I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go.
Once it comes to this place, the same thing is going to happen.
Come on to tap it. I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go.
So that was what I did there, and then I came to my EQ. I added an EQ into my delay bus. I took away the low and the high frequency, just to make my delay not to crash with my lead vocals. So I have to take down the high and the low frequency on that, and also I have to added a reverb to it, because I wanted to achieve that kind of a Malay kind of vibe. So I use this a Valhalla delay. So this is a delay, this is not a reverb. I added a Valhalla delay. I'm using two delay. My mode is tape, and then I just have to like put it there. Let's see.
Early mama, 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 make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire oh. I go rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go sengpe.
So tell me in the comment section what you guys think about this delay and how it sounds, and just tell me by this comment section. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is our reverb, and then I use this reverb from I use this Valhalla vintage reverb, and then it sounds good and it's nice. So as you can see, what I decided to use here, my mix was all the way to 100, and I still use a smooth plate, and my decay was about 5.4 decay, and as you can see. So let's take a listen to how it sounds. All I have to do here was to have a control over it and then reduce the volume of my delay of my reverb. So let's take a listen to how the reverb sound.
I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, 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 make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire oh. Come on to tap it, your body na fire. You waiting you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to Jalingo, you give me candy. Oh, chukunu. Tell you when you rock back, you go your body. Tell you if you make a man one colony. Tell you go make the guy one colony. Oh, sukunu. Oh, sukunu. Oh, sukunu. My Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. Now when you know that I shiver, now only you make me para. Oh, my Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. Now when you
So guys, so what I did in my EQ Nest was to reduce the high frequency and the low frequency of the reverb, because I wanted it to stand out and not clash with my lead vocals, just as I did with the delay also. So on this one now I decided to use a limiter plugin. This is from FL Studio, so it's a stock plugin. I have to sidechain to my lead vocals, and then I have to touch my threshold, my news, and that was all what I did with this. So the reason why I'm adding this, because I wanted my reverb to have control, to only be present when the artist stops singing and goes up, just like the way I'm trying to do some kind of automation. So sometimes this works, sometimes this does not work, so you have to do it automationally and do it step by step to get what you want. So this is all about this tutorial today, and guys, thanks for watching. I'm going to be playing these songs right away for you guys to listen for it from the beginning to the end and see the feelings it brought and see how it sounds. So let's take a listen. And
I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. Come out to tap it, your body na fire, you waiting you carry, you kill somebody, I would just to Jalingo, you give me candy. Tell you when you rock back, but you go your body. Tell you if you make a man one colony. Tell you go make the guy one colony. Oh, Zukonu. Oh, Zukonu. Oh, my Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. Now when you know that I shiver, now only you make me para. Oh, my Cinderella, now only you give me ginger. Now when you know that I shiver, now only you make me para. Come out to tap it, your body na fire. You waiting you carry, you kill somebody. I would just to Jalingo, you give me candy. Tell you when you rock back, but you go your body. Tell you if you make a man one colony. Tell you go make the guy one colony. Oh, Zukonu. Oh, Zukonu. Oh, I gon' rock you till early mama, make you no go sengpe, make you no go tire, oh. I gon' rock you till early mama, make you